You're listening to Real Talk All Sport. You can find us on Spotify with Real Talk All Sport and on YouTube as well with Mr. B Productions WAL. If you are listening on Spotify or YouTube you're watching, then give us a subscribe and a follow. So that means you can be in touch with what we are producing every single week. And at the moment, we are making videos and podcasts every week on a Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you're taking the kids to football, you can watch or listen to that whilst you're taking them there, or maybe even before. If you're playing, you can watch it on the way or before. Or if you're watching your own team play, you can listen to us before you do that as well. Good morning, Nathan.
You did it!
Yes! I did it. That's like my fifth take. That's like my fifth take.
That was pretty good. That.
Thanks. They're not going to see the ones before. But.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. There was no one before. It's just straight off the bat, mate.
Cheers.
Just put it out the ground.
Yeah.
So how you doing? How you keeping?
I'm good, thank you.
This is becoming more and more regular, right?
I like it. It's much fun.
It's starting to catch fire, right?
Yeah. It's especially on TikTok as well. I love seeing so many fans from different clubs.
Yeah.
Like, bearing in mind, Norwich isn't a club that you played for.
No.
But
Great club, though.
But we're having some like really good reception from the fans, good stories and memories, which is so nice because it is a really cool club.
Yeah, I mean, Big Grant was a great call. I mean, I did some digging, and he's at Langley. I think it's like a grammar school. He's the director of football there.
That's really cool.
So not stalking you, Grant, but hey, great to see you still in football, and great to see you enjoying life.
And he's playing for a team as well still. So part of me is thinking, if I've got a weekend free,
you might go up and see it.
I might go and watch Grant Holt play. Yeah. Another thing that's been good as well is it's getting a bit warmer, which is so nice. The weather. It's getting warmer. It's
the rain down.
Sometimes it teases you with a bit of cold.
Yeah. Like last night.
Yeah, last night was cold.
Wet, and I just fed up with the rain, mate. But it seems like it's been raining for like 2 years.
Yeah. There was a moment yesterday though. So we've spoken about music because as well as sport, you love your music.
I love music.
There was a moment yesterday at about 2:00. I was driving back from the gym. The sun finally came out.
It's a beautiful thing.
I put the window down, and on radio was Trevor Nelson because he's got his new slot in the afternoon.
Like, what's going on, Wales? I mean, Dav can produce. I can spin the tracks. I mean, can we get a slot on any Welsh station? A soul vibe going?
Similar to
Come on,
a
man.
Welsh version of Trevor Nelson. Because I haven't listened to Trevor Nelson before because... of the timing it was. So it would be just probably as what you're watching football. So
I was in Trevor's gig a couple of weeks ago in Bristol with my boys.
It's good.
Yeah, Trev's always good. I go back to Wolverhampton like 15 years ago. Nice. And probably longer actually. I'm saying 15 years. I was still playing probably 20 odd years ago when we went to Wolverhampton with my boy AD Little John and the boys and went to see Trev.
And you were telling me how much you like him. And in that moment, 2:30 yesterday, I was listening to him. I think he was playing a Stevie Wonder track.
Oh, it just makes you feel good though,
and
right?
At that moment, I was like, I get it.
Yeah. It just makes you feel good. That's why I love like some sort of Saturday, Sunday soul. You know me. It's a bit of a sanctuary for me, music. And people think, it's just hip hop he listens to. But hip hop's like, I love hip hop. I love R&B, I love soul. But like I say to people, I'm brought up in the 70s, but I had my mum and my grandmother's music influence. So you get all the way down to the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, then the 80s, the 90s were unreal for like hip hop, swing beat, New Jack Swing, stuff like that. People like Teddy Riley, and then you progress all the way up to today, which then I get my kids giving me music.
It just doesn't run out as well.
It doesn't. But like people think, if you play R&B or soul, it's all the same thing. But you can say that about any genre of music, right? If it's jazz, it's all the same thing. If it's pop, it's all the same thing. The idea is I can play you someone like the Isley Brothers, Roberta Flack, God rest you, one of my mum's favourite artists, Joan Armatrading, Little Richard, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, all the way up to like Jodeci, Blackstreet, you know, I don't know, Tupac Shakur, you know,
they
Dr.
had that on
Dre.
this morning as well.
Yeah,
Tupac
yeah,
was on this morning.
Yeah.
And
or Guru
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like there's hip hop artists there's some who are raw, and then there's some who are soft. Like I look at Stormzy, Storms. If you ever get to see this, bro, your lyrics. There's a song he does. It's one of his old albums, and talk about relate. Like, my days. It's scary, but that's what I'm saying. See, we could just delve into music now.
We could.
I could just go off on a tangent. But Storms, keep writing, and do you know what I love? He's now writing music that he says just comes from his soul, and it's proper. It's like that. That's what it's about. Don't worry if the people like it, right? Right from the soul. But right from the soul guarantees for me that I like it. Love him.
Real talk, all tracks.
Real talk, all music.
Nice. Into sport then?
Let's do it.
I thought it was nice to relate back because you've been influenced a bit of music and shown me some music kind of over the time we spent together.
Yeah.
And it was a moment there where I was like, I get it.
We just got to do that. I got to teach you that dance. They call it the
candy
dance. Yeah. They call it the candy dance or cameo dance. It's an old school step. That's the one.
Yeah,
That's the one.
World of football. Wales is what we're going to talk about first.
Yeah. Wales.
Nice.
Women or men? Got to be the women.
Let's go for the women.
Yeah. Great result last night, by the way.
Yeah. One more. Sweden, a good team.
It's a very good team. They're you know, top 10, you know, in the world. Very, very good team. Great result.
1-1's a good result.
A brilliant result. And it's turning the one I've said on Feast of Football podcast, turning those 1-0 losses, because they lose. When they lose, they tend to lose by a goal.
Okay.
So they can get that back onto a level par of a 1-1, take a point, or flip it again into a 1-0 victory.
Yeah.
So in the Welsh women's game, the first goal is always it's critical. And if Wales get it, they tend to do really well. But if the opposing team get it, they tend to lose 1-0. So yesterday it was refreshing that, especially in the Nations League, tough games.
Yeah.
But then looking forward to the Euros, you know, it's not a free hit. It's not a trial to, you know, we're shit down, ready to go to the Euros to try and perform. Because I think they'll do better than what most people think deep down.
And with the Nations League as well, because I think when it started, it got a little bit of criticism in both the women's and the men's game. I'm really enjoying it. And for something like your first experience of the Euros, is that a good confidence boost?
I think
to be
it's
playing
brilliant.
against these really good teams?
For me, it went stupid when you were able to change 11 subs, 10 subs, 9 subs. You know, people are paying their hard-earned money, remember, for a ticket.
Yeah.
You may as well say it's an exhibition game. No tackling, because it was just ruining it. So putting a competitive edge on it, and then also allowing us how Wales we got through the competitions, right? Through the playoffs and stuff like that. I think it's a brilliant format. I say with the Champions League, I think it's a much better format. I don't think Champions League teams should be allowed to drop down into the UEFA Cup. I never thought that was fair.
Yeah.
Right? My youngest son, Jude, he used to lose his head. It's not fair. Dad, how is that fair? Right? And I say, look, well, you know, it's just they want the big clubs to get to the finals, but win everything. I'm like, but it's a separate competition. You didn't start in it, so why should you end up in it? So, no, Nations League format, new Champions League format. I think in fairness, FIFA get a lot of stick, right? UEFA, FIFA get a lot of stick, but in that instance, they've done wonders.
And with Wales women's team, Hayley Ladd, 100 caps for Wales.
Jess Fishlock, 160.
Yeah, I know. Like
160 caps.
160 caps.
Bro, my legs couldn't carry me that. That's like saying to me, do 10 marathons in 5 minutes. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, we'll have to call Roger Williams back to
Yeah,
to
boy.
help with that.
So, but Hayley Ladd, brilliant achievement. Good player. Central midfield. I do like her and Anne Harrod in that middle of the park. I know she's had to do a job in defence from time to time, but do you know what they are? They're two players who can receive. I've said they can receive the ball, they can stick their backside and their arm out, turn on the half turn, and get away from players. So, yeah, I like her.
Really crucial role in that middle of the park.
Yeah. But good players. That's why I say I think there's Wales women have got at least another level. I think 2 levels to go.
Cool.
And I think when they get to the next level, I think they go from a top 30 team to a top 15 team. And then if they can reach that pinnacle level, it's not going to happen overnight, but they're going towards it. If you see the direction of travel of Welsh women's football over the last 10, 20, 30 years, it might be like that, right? But it's an upward trajectory. It's brilliant.
Awesome. And even you look at Hayley Ladd, and she's still in her early 30s, so she's still got a good few years to go as well. And especially if you look at like the influence of Fishlock as well, like there's a hardiness to the Welsh women's team as well.
Yeah.
And they're playing against good teams, and also they're playing at a really high level, because if you look at Hayley Ladd's career, played with Everton, United, like I think Bristol, Coventry, they're all top teams. That's consistent level of top teams, as opposed to maybe your kind of stories of started off at lower league, worked their way up. She's been top of the game for a whole career.
Yeah. And that takes some doing. So she, like I say, for me, I think like we always say, like your spine needs to be really, they got a great goalkeeper, good centre halves, great central midfielders, great strikers. So right down the middle, great. So what you build around that now is really important. I know the full-backs, Lil's on the left-hand side, little Tiger gets stuck in, she don't mess. Like, I've seen her on the Face the Football, and she was so like light in her voice and soft, and I was thinking like you're not the same girl I see go wiring into people, and like I think it was the Italy game. There was a little slow-mo of her. Well, it wasn't a slow-mo. The Italian girl gave her a little, it was like a free kick, and it was like a little push. Lil's gone, what F you pushing? I was like, whoa, I love it. It's like, it's just, and I would say, it doesn't matter if it's men's football, women's football, you have to have a level of aggression, right? It's not many people who can get away with having no aggression. Even like the greatest players who you think, like you never see him lose his rag. There will be footage of them losing their rag somewhere, and just thinking, right, you've kicked me like 5 times. I'm just going to leave one on you. Yeah. Got to have it. And the girls got that in abundance. All of them seem to have that sort of...
and is that out of like a confidence and a fire as opposed to outright aggression?
It's not outright aggression. Yeah. It's an aggression to win the ball, to dominate your opponent, and not be dominated.
Competitive sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. Absolutely. Because it's physical, right? It's not like darts, great sport, I love it, but it's not, you're not combating. Anything where your body goes, body to body clashing, doesn't matter if it's rugby, football, hockey, ice hockey, netball. Netball's so physical.
Yeah.
Right? Real physical. My mother-in-law plays it still. And she's, I won't tell her age, but you know what I mean? But she referees, still plays. She'll tell you how physical it is. I've seen her over the years of busted lips, eyes, all sorts. You know what I mean? So sport is physical.
Yeah. Hockey is one that blows my mind as well.
Yeah. And I love like the ladies have it in abundance. It's not something that is lacking. And you'll need that to get up, because you see against Italy, first 5 minutes they were on top. But then as the game settled down, it became a right battle. The Irish game, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
Right?
I love
if you ain't got that fire, then, you know what I mean? Like the old, like, sort of adage of, women are supposed to be like I'm like, bro, listen, I see my mum fight men. Don't mess. My mother is not a person you cross like, you know what I mean? So I was never one of them, oh, women don't fight. Listen, I tell my mum, she gonna come and kick your ass. Do you know what I mean? School teachers are scared of my mum. So no, I'm very much raised by women, and rather than men. So I'm all for the ladies. It's wonderful to see.
Nice. And then moving on from Haley lads to the men's football, you want to talk about Ethan Ampadu?
Yeah, I think he's got a cartilage problem. He's got to have another operation, I think. And with the games coming up now in March, it's just I just hate seeing that. He's come off an injury, I think similar injury on his left or his right, but now it's the same injury. So it's like maybe he had the problem in both knees at the same time, or overcompensated for one knee, the bad knee with the good knee, and then it's spread to the good knee, and now he's got to have that operated on. But I just know him and Roden, like playing in the same team. There's an understanding, him and Roden defensively, or I prefer actually Ethan sat in midfield.
I do as well.
Right, I think he's he's just so calm and so mature in his head. And I think Rodon in the defence and Ethan in the midfield gives you a stronger than the two of them at the back.
Yeah.
Right? I think they're brilliant together, but I think you've got experience in the back line. Experience, and we're talking experience. These guys are 24.
Yeah, they're not old.
They're babbies, really. So I just disappointed to see that. Gutted, I was going for to say.
I'm a big fan of Ethan.
Exeter, wasn't it? He came from. I think his dad played for Newport County at one stage. Just type his dad's name in, and then it'll give you his career statistic.
Kwame Ampadu.
Sorry, people. We're just testing Mr. B's old brain here and seeing if it's still working correctly.
Kwame Ampadu played for Newport County for 1 year.
Thank you
Had
very
8
much.
appearances.
Thank you very much.
Well fed, but 144 for Swansea.
Yeah. Big. His dad is big Welsh influence.
Yeah, wow. I didn't realise.
We do learn something new every day, don't you?
There you go. Well, first Trevor Nelson, now Kwame Ampadu.
There you go. But back to Ethan. He's a huge miss for us, I think.
Yeah.
I think, don't get me wrong, the team can manage, but you want your best players, don't you? Especially what Craig's doing with the team. You want the best players to be playing as regular as possible so they can get that sort of club sort of feeling amongst themselves.
That style's meant for Ethan as well, isn't it? That kind of confident, cool possession.
It's great for the likes of Dan James. You know what I mean? Speedsters, I always say. Speedsters or people who can really run. Brennan, Harry Wilson, Brooksy.
It does seem like a style that gives them confidence.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because I do really like Ampadu, as you say, just in front of Rodon. It feels he has a confidence in Rodon. It feels like he can pick up all those little scrappy bits, which in international football is a really nice way to gain control. We've talked about it before with JJ as well. It gave him a freedom to turn, look forward, go as well, and have that confidence that if Jordan James is going up, he's got that security of Ampadu, who knows what's going on and can marshal it around there.
And the last couple of games, you've got to realise that JJ played further up. He was pushing on. He wasn't them two holding. He played more. He was up part of the original press. So, yeah, but you've got to say, Welsh football, men and women, it's in a good place. It's in a really good place.
It's fun to watch as well. I can't wait. I've got my ticket for Kazakhstan.
Yeah? Are you going, are you?
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Should we go to the roundup for Welsh clubs at the moment?
Yeah.
So,
what are we going to start with? What do you want to do?
I think probably the best place to start would be Swansea.
Okay.
Because if we look at where they are at the moment, they've recently brought in a new director of football, Richard Montague.
Yeah, that's a strange
This is weird. And is there something we're missing? Because he's recently come to the job.
Yeah, and he was mates with the managers.
Luke Williams.
Yeah.
So he worked with Luke Williams at Notts County.
Yeah. That's why they brought him in, I thought.
Yeah. And now Luke Williams has a sack. Which is, but this, it might not. We might finally have a question you can't answer, Nate.
It's football, right? It's football. There's a lot going on at a lot of clubs, which you think to yourself. I think there's this world now where, well, not now, it's always been in football. So many people love football, whether they can play it or not. And it's almost become now, if you've played the game, you've got less chance of staying in the game as a coach or something like that. Or if you do, you're probably more welcomed at the lower leagues than you are at the higher, right? Because people at the higher end don't like to acknowledge that they don't know, right? It's how they became successful, by knowing a lot and understanding whatever their business is. But they, a conversation was taking place this morning on about Chelsea and Todd Bowley and the money they've spent. And, right? Yeah. And you're thinking, okay, right, I think there was demonstrations last night after they won, but it's not, it's a similar to Vincent Tan. It's not that you're not spending money. They've basically ripped out the heart of Chelsea, right, and said restart. And I would say, regardless if those elder players in the dressing room were Roman Abramovich's people or not, they are loyal to Chelsea, right? So, like I've said to you before, I used to go there and Aspilicueta, people like that. They had proper leaders, brilliant leaders. And when they took it off Roman and gave it to Bowley, they basically ripped everything out. Yeah. And I don't think they understand how long that takes to replace and regain. Man United's another one. They didn't rip it out. Theirs just kind of come to an end, but they didn't have enough in place to then carry themselves over sort of a 2-3 year threshold of maybe not winning anything and rebuilding. Yeah. And all of a sudden in football, 3 years can become 10 years. How do I know? Yeah. Cardiff City. So, that's with spending money. At Swansea, I don't quite know what their plan is. But fair play to young Alan Sheehan, done really well, right? Yeah. Both times now. Okay, it's one game, but you got to think it's one game where the previous game, the fans were like, it was a bit wild. They're going down. And, you then go bang, 3-0 win. And then it just calms everything down. So fair play to him, fair play. Under that amount of pressure, I think, I think he's done Sheehan now. I think he's done wonders for the club. Both times he's been asked to step up. So, they're safe now. That's what I would say. They're in a safer position, much safer position than Cardiff are. I know, which is what we're going to go to next is with Cardiff. It's the weirdest one. Because, do you know what I can understand? How Swansea were under so much more scrutiny and pressure than Cardiff, and Cardiff were in a lower position. Yeah. And 5 points behind them. Yeah. It is weird how... Do you think it's almost a bit we're too comfortable? I think we're falling into that sort of... The win the other night was big, right? Robinson's clearly that was the most important player for them, right? Big win. Big, massive against win. Hull. But if you look, over the last, say, 20 games, they're just not able to pull away from that zone, right? I looked at it now and thought, right, they're okay. But if Plymouth win the next game and Cardiff lose the next game and Hull win a game, Cardiff will probably be, I think they'll be back to fourth from bottom. I think they're fifth from bottom now. They just can't get away from that pack. I said there was a Stoker in trouble as well, I think, massive trouble. But there was a group of teams that included Swansea, which were like 3 or 4 points above Cardiff. And if they won a couple of games, starting with Plymouth,
Yeah.
They won the other night, obviously. Those 6 points would have pushed them into that sort of next tier and just taken the pressure off. But it seems like, I don't know. I'm not worried. I don't lose sleep over it. I just think to myself, like, oh, like, it's almost like written. Do you know what I mean? Like, God, if something weird's going to happen on the last day of the season, like, that's the way it goes. I remember a friend of mine who used to be a director at Bristol Rovers, and he said to me a few years ago, we're too big to go down. And I said, whoa.
Yeah.
I said, don't say that. And he said, why not? It's true. I said, like, football's weird. I've been relegated 4 or 5 times, right? And on 40-odd plus points from the Premier League, last day of the season, needed to win, blah, 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 blah. Not happened, or, Sheffield United was probably the hardest one I ever had to suffer was, you're up and within a minute, in the last minute, Steen scores, you're down.
Yeah.
But it was even our coach was saying, you're okay, just keep it. 2-1's okay. Or 2-1, I think it was, or 2-0, 2-1, I think it was. You're okay. And no, the trap door went.
Yeah.
So I always say, like, when you're floating around there, and it's been happening for a few seasons now with Cardiff, eventually, in the weirdest circumstances, that trap door opens and
it does feel like at the moment that the word relegation is taboo in Cardiff.
Well, the fans are not they don't, I think they got a little concern in the back of their mind, but I think they honestly feel like that there's no chance of us going. Because at Plymouth on Saturday, God, fans were singing at Plymouth, you're going down.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, don't tempt fate, boys. Come on, don't do that. So it's gonna, like I say, I think it's gonna go to the wire. Because Hull went and got a result last week, which you didn't expect. I think they won at Sunderland. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just shows like, when you think someone's down and out, they're not. Where Portsmouth were 2 months ago, you think, they're gone.
Yeah.
And they've jumped up, like, they're 2 or 3 places above Cardiff.
Especially seeing how many ex-Cardiff players are there as well.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I don't mind that. I look at Cardiff and think, like, you've got to be building towards Premier League. I keep saying it, that, like, Championship football is great, but fans, and that's what the clubs are trying to achieve, is Premier League football, right? And we've listed here before, haven't we? Look at Brighton, where they've come from, Bournemouth, where they've come from, Leeds, I know they're in the Championship, but where they're going, Brentford, where they've come from, Fulham. All these teams have come from either behind us or level sort of with us and gone on and now are like, don't look like coming out of the Premier League. Newcastle. Aston Villa,
West Ham as well. That's so true.
It's about getting your shit right on the at boardroom level. Swansea, Cardiff, got to get it right, mate. You owe it to people. You owe it to fans. You're asking them to keep coming and paying the money. You know what I mean? And you're just a custodial. You're just holding it. You're a stakeholder. You're not. People go, I'm the owner. Well, you are, but the club, that's football. It belongs to the fans. It doesn't belong to you, because fans don't leave.
And it is also hard for fans as well, if you think about it, because you've got all this happening, and it does get tiring for fans if they're coming every week to try and support, and the club isn't necessarily going in the direction that they want to see or that excites them, or is what you want to see as progression. Yeah. But then you've got that, and what you could be spending your money on is waiting every few months to watch Wales. And football is, people watch it with their hard-earned money. And
it's not getting any cheaper.
Like, as you say, like, a ticket for Wales, you're talking 45 quid. Cardiff, you're kind of 20, 30, depending on.
Look at Man United. 60-odd quid for everybody, no children, no OAPs, and if you're not in the first team, it's bread and soup.
Exactly.
And you got combined multi-billionaires all in the club.
And as a fan, the money is really important, because it's not just the ticket, it's the transport to get there. If you're it's the food that you have to plan for, if you're there or not there. It could be child support for or even just asking like a friend to do a favor, which then is costly for them.
Oh, imagine if it's mum, dad, and the 2 kids.
Yeah, exactly. Or you're paying for a family of 4, which is,
that's big dollars, mate.
So much money.
And then like you're asking those fans, Newcastle United, to travel down to Swansea City on a Tuesday night. And at least we need to do 2,000. We're pushing for the league or Champions League. We need a good support. And they go.
I know.
And I say I think there'll probably be sporting directors and owners and director of football club going, oh, shut up, Nate. Come on. But honestly, I'm like, if you don't run your club with the fans in mind, listen, you may as well just give it up. Honestly, because the fan and the team, the 2 most important things. Yeah. And then obviously you nurture your younger offspring, your academies and stuff like that. That's where you nurture your players through. But yeah, Cardiff and Swansea, I think Swansea are out of danger. I think another win, maybe 2. They're definitely out. But Cardiff, precarious, yeah. And strange though, like I said. Yeah.
Outside of the Championship, Wrexham still comfortably at 3rd. It's almost sometimes hard to report on Wrexham because
great win at Mansfield.
They're so
tough
consistent.
Place to go. They are. That's the thing. They don't. Phil Parkinson, just steady Eddie.
Yeah.
Don't get too excited. Oh, top of the league. Oh well. They don't give trophies away in September. They don't give trophies away in March. He's very much level-headed, but great win at Mansfield the other night. That's a tough place to go as well.
Yeah.
Clough, tough place to go. And they got a bit of dough, Mansfield.
Okay.
Always there or thereabouts, with the spends.
And with 3rd, obviously, 3rd doesn't get you promotion, but it gets you playoffs. However, even if they don't win the playoffs, that's still a success, right, for the season?
Well, it is, but it's not. For the players and the fans and the staff, it's devastating. I've never been in that position. I've been in a relegation position, but I've never been in a position where I've gone to the playoffs, and I've only been through there once with Wolves, but we won.
Yeah. Sorry,
Blades, but we did. We won the game, and I can't imagine what it's like that extended season and then to lose. It's. I think it's hard psychologically to get over. My worry is more the following season because of exhaustion and things like that. And
do you think it would play more of an exhaustion rather than that's a good experience?
It's exhausting and it's like crushing.
Okay.
So it's hard to, because psychologically, it's easy to say, just forget about it and move on. But you don't. You can't. If you did, it means you wouldn't really care about your job you're doing. So I think it's but I still think it's success for Wrexham.
Yeah.
Given where they've been in the last 10, 15 years. So 2 back-to-back promotions, a playoff, whether you're successful or not. Let's say you're not successful, then what I'd say, playoffs means you're knocking the door. So with someone like Phil Parkinson, didn't quite make it, but I would say you'll be slightly better next year, which we know it's a new season, what have you, different challenges, but I think they'll be better for it, even if they don't go up.
Newport?
The Port. Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah.
There's always, whenever we mention Newport, there's a part of you just goes,
yeah. No, I think from a fan's perspective, because I sit amongst the fans when I go to watch with my muckers and that, and I think it's, are we going to become a club that buys players from lower divisions, nurtures them and sells them and stays in like a League 2 position? And if we win a promotion, great, League 1. Or are we going to become a club that's going to structurally look towards building toward becoming a League 1 club and a consistent League 1 club? I think That at the moment is the dilemma, and I think a lot of fans' mind, and only the owner, Hugh, knows that. I'm not sure.
That's interesting because we haven't talked about those two philosophies. So the philosophies are: you look around, local leagues, buy them at a reasonable price, back your scouts that they are a good level, and then you either excel as a team or you sell on those players, which helps for the financial stability of the club, or you do more of a Wrexham, which this is obviously an extreme level to it, but you see the players who are already good, you think, right, they are so good, we just need to get them. But then I guess that's more financially risky than, say, the other, where the risk is finance on the one side, whereas on the other side, the risk is the players might not be quite there.
Yeah, and also you got to add that Newport don't have the same level of investment that Wrexham have.
Yeah.
And they don't have the same level of crowd or the same size ground and capacity and things like that. I would have thought Wrexham got a lot of things going from now, like training grounds and stuff like that, right? So Newport still, I wish the council would help the football club. I really do. Because...
how can a council help a football club?
Identify patches of land that they can have for a training ground. I know that's been a problem for... I've sat on the board of the charity for help set it up, county the community for the last 10 years. And, you know, it just doesn't seem to be a willingness. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of people who will jump on photo opportunities and tell you, oh, yeah, I will, I'll help, and what have you. But actually... there's not a willingness, and I always say I don't get it. I don't get like where Newport was in the 80s, 90s to where it is. Anyone from Newport to tell you, and this is not me rose tinted glasses, it's dead in comparison. Newport was a thriving town with great communities. Yeah. Right? You could name the estates, great, and on the estates, you might have a bit of vibe with people, but in general, you had really good communities, whether you're in Bettis, whether you're in Malpas, whether you're in Ringland, Orway, Somerton, Maindy, Moreland, Liswerry, Corper, Pill, Dufferin, Maceglass. Yeah, you had communities, and then Newport people. Okay, sometimes it was like the Wild West on a Saturday night, but it was a great night out.
There's a massive sense of identity with the port. And,
yeah. And it just, that's been lost. But now there seems to be, and I can't say there seems to be, because I've experienced this lack of help. You know, and I know it can't be like, oh, we want this, so you get it. But if you can't tell me that as a council, you can't identify a patch of land within the whole of Newport for a charity which is serving and helping community after community after community, there's something real wrong with the system, isn't there? For the start, there shouldn't be charities. Right?
Yeah.
But the fact that people are taking their time to actually service their own community and help people in those communities, to then think, well, the council is not actually pulling our way, they're pulling against us more often than not. No. It's, it's a constant struggle. And it's sad to see. Times are tough out there.
Yeah.
And if you collaborate with the council, you get things done much easier, much quicker.
Yeah, it's so true.
Right? And then more people get help.
And if you have a council that feels like they're supporting you as well, that's actually a really big deal.
It's a huge deal. Yeah. It's a huge deal. I bet if we went political and done a show on councils and you'd see how many people are going, well, at the moment, our council ain't really doing much for us. Right?
It'd be interesting.
It would be interesting. We should go political, maybe.
Oh, that'd be scary. That'd be scary.
Okay. So the port, anyway, Jardine's doing a good job, and nice. It's kind of like a watch this space over the next 2 or 3 years. I think.
It does feel like that. It feels like they're in a solid place right now.
Yeah.
And speaking as not a Newport fan, I want to see them do well. I want to see that growth, because also from a Cardiff fan, we're loaning players out to you guys. We want you to be as on top form as possible. So either like you can help our youngsters out, and then we can bring you up to a level.
Absolutely,
As well. You want that kind of cohesion.
That's
isn't
right.
it?
Yeah, right.
Sweet. And then to finish it off, just a little review: the race to the top 4.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The top 7, 8.
Yeah.
So what have we got? Newcastle. Villa. Man City.
Liverpool.
Notts Forest.
Yeah.
Liverpool. Brentford up and around there, or Brighton.
I think.
Yeah,
It's a tricky
what
one.
I'm saying is
they
the top
jump in
4
and
now
out,
is
yeah.
like, well, you're not even sure Man City are going to get in there, right?
Is there such thing as the top 4 anymore?
I don't think so.
I love that
because I think it's long gone.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's long gone.
Because
So if you look at
United aren't there.
well,
anymore.
if you look at Liverpool at
Yeah.
the moment, let's and this is no disrespect with Forest, but you know what I mean when I say big clubs. Like Forest is a huge club, European Cup winners, so they're not a small club. But I'm talking like the clubs who have 50,000, 60,000
Yeah.
stadiums, what have you. So you had the Liverpool, you had the Man City,
Yeah.
yeah, I had Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
They're 3, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got Chelsea,
Yeah.
Villa,
Okay.
Tottenham, Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Forest. I haven't mentioned United yet.
I don't know if you need to.
Right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The league, the Premier League is becoming like, that's what a league should be,
Yeah.
right? You know, it's great to see, you know, Man City break records and do 4 in a row. Records, you want records to be set, right? Because it's another challenge for someone. But the Premier League now, is like, I don't think, it's more of like a top 7.
That's nice though, because
I didn't mention Spurs, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
West Ham.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It is so much more exciting.
Yeah.
It always says it's so much more exciting when Man City are.
Yeah. No, but this is what I say about like the likes of Cardiff City and Swansea City, right? Wrexham are going in the right direction, right? You get the feeling that if Wrexham get into the Championship and they did get into the Premier League, their ship would be tight.
Yeah.
They would make sure that they've got round pegs and round holes. And if that happens, that will just antagonise the Cardiff and Swansea fans to the max, especially if they go in there and stay in there, which I'm not predicting they will do, but if I was to choose out of the 4 Welsh clubs at the moment, who's most likely to get to the Premier League in the next 3 to 5 years and stay there for a few seasons, might be 10 seasons, might become a stalwart, you wouldn't say Cardiff or Swansea, you would say Wrexham, right? Because they're going in the right direction. They've won promotions and they seem to be doing things the right way. They're not like Cardiff. I could look and go, look at the money you've spent on players and that, and it's been a complete waste.
Yeah.
Right? Take 2 of those spends, you could have built a training ground. Right?
You do forget how much footballers cost.
You do, right? You do. They play, and this has not been for like a short period of time. They've wasted money after money after money after money over like a 12-year period. You know, and I know they point to the what was his name, the big fella who Vincent Tan, I forget his name now.
Oh,
the striker Cornelius.
Oh, Andreas Cornelius.
Yeah.
I remember when we bought him from Copenhagen, wasn't it?
Yeah. But you look at the money that's been spent and you think, and you will, I always say you will get recruitment wrong. It's not an exact science, but good recruitment, if you really look in and really don't just look at data, personalities, because they've all got to fit into that dressing room. That's a huge thing, I think, where I think now the non-football people who have walked into these jobs like director of football and what have you are just going on, okay, the Moneyball system.
Yeah.
I work for Brighton. Well, you know, you don't know Brighton's system is different. You know, you have to look at personality. It's huge.
Nice. Do you want to finish on a fan's question?
Hit me with it.
So this is a fun one because it is in no way does it actually have any proper substance, but it's a nice hypothetical. It's from Alex. I think they've been watching Ted Lasso recently.
Is Alex a man or a woman?
A man.
Just realised. Did you say Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
Who is that? No, really, I don't know who Ted Lasso is.
So Ted Lasso is a program on Apple TV where what happens is there's a football owner who wants their team to crumble because her husband used to be the owner of the team. They got divorced and she didn't like football.
She's trying to bring it down.
So she's trying to bring the club down.
Okay.
So what she does is brings an American football coach over to AFC Richmond, doesn't exist, to be their coach and to then make it crumble. The story of it, this guy is overly positive. He's got a philosophy of like being a team that works together. He's got that American enthusiasm.
Okay, I know. Yeah. That enthusiasm.
Yeah. And
it's great for American football.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then the outcome of it isn't necessarily the best team in the world, but it's a team that is successful. So they dance in around the Championship and the Premier League area. And so the question is, and I think it probably comes from with Welsh rugby at the moment before.
We talk rugby?
Yeah. So I guess where this question comes from.
Where's it coming from? Okay.
Is that with Gatland going, people aren't sure who's going to take control of it because good coaches cost a lot of money. Wales don't have a lot of it. So the question is, can a successful manager switch sports?
Can a successful manager? So, for instance, let me just get this right.
Like it's
so let's say Warren Gatland in his finest period for Wales in that decade, could he then have gone over to Man United and managed? Is that what you're saying?
I guess it would be less of a Man United, but it'd be
Cardiff City.
Can you go to Cardiff City when they're really struggling and create a philosophy with a team of coaches who know what they're doing?
Okay.
With a strong core of team who know what they're doing. Can he be a good manager?
I would never say never. I would say it's going to be extremely difficult because there are things that like you wouldn't see. So, for instance, I always say the dressing room is a ruthless place. Yeah. Now, imagine being in the Cardiff dressing room, Warren Gatland from sounds crazy, sounds like I'm in an alternative world, is gone and got the head coach's job, regardless of who he's brought in. If I'm playing against you and I'm playing for, let's say, I'm playing for Liverpool against, I am going to pick your brain through the whole 90 minutes. Like, I'm going to be saying to you, oh, mate, you need to put it over the post, not under the bar. Mate,
so it's good ammunition.
Mate, I would have an absolute field day. So I suppose it's possible. Anything's possible. Well, most things are possible. Yeah. Whether it would be probable and feasible, I don't know. I think, and it's not a case of staying in lane or anything like that. I just think it's the person. I think a lot of people forget his personalities. You're asking 25 men in the dressing room to accept, this person who they know doesn't know the game. He might know philosophy of tactics, and he might know personalities, and he might know, what gets you all together, and
and he might be a good person,
and he might be a great person, but he doesn't know the game we're trying to play. So he doesn't know what it's like in. And there's football managers who never played the game, right? So I'm not saying that. I suppose that's a similar sort of thing, right? Where you would say someone who's been in a top level sport and done really well would be more qualified than someone who's never played but is walking into a professional football club as a head coach. That happens regularly. Yeah. So which would you prefer? Warren Gatland not Warren. Let's change that because Warren's like at the moment is
Yeah.
a bit of a bad time with Wales. So
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick coming from New England Patriots and walking into Chelsea.
Oh, I'd love to see it. That would be.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think it's possible, but I don't think it would go down well. And footballers are precious. As we've seen in the past couple of years, very precious these days. So that's that question,
Alex,
that's a great question. That's a great question.
and if you had to coach another team or another sport,
Another sport.
and I'm not, athletics doesn't count, it has to be a team sport.
It'd either be rugby league or netball.
Controversial. I prefer netball to basketball. I think it's more exciting.
I can take or leave basketball. I'm with you. But netball, I kind of not addicted to, but I'll watch a lot of it.